Merry meets everyone, Earthfire here. Today I thought I would do a quick video on cleansing. Basically what is it, how do you do it, and what do you use for it. I had a little confusion with one of my videos with one of my subscribers. She's new to the witchy path, so she heard me talk about cleansing my item before I did any spell work, and she really wasn't quite sure that she was supposed to do that. And each to their own, but it's always a good idea to make sure that everything's cleansed of any other type of energies. So what exactly is cleansing? Cleansing is just you taking basically whatever item it is that you use to cleanse with. Some people use water, some people use smoke, some people use incense or herbs. I personally do most of my cleansings with sage, which looks like this. Sage and a fan. You can also just do it with a charcoal disc. You can just light the charcoal disc and kind of waft it around your home and your space. You could also use incense. I use frankincense a lot for just my altar space because I don't really like the smell of sage. I prefer the smell of frankincense, and it's good for cleansing too. Some people use, like I said, water. They just take blessed water. Blessed water is basically you just take the time to bless it. You can put it underneath the full moon if you want, or which a lot of people don't think about, is putting it out in the sun, because the sun is a huge element of ours that we don't use it enough. And personally, to me, the sun, being that the sun is masculine, I just feel that the sun is very protective and all of that. So which is what you're kind of doing when you're cleansing. You're making sure that nothing's attached to any of your spaces or your items that are not supposed to be. So you should try to go through your home at least once a month. A lot of people do it on the full moon. I am not that organized, so I just try to do it once a month. Sometimes, if I'm feeling a lot of gunk in the house, I'll try and do it once a week. But I basically just take my sage and my lighter, because sage doesn't stay lit for very long, and I have a fan that I got at Dollar Tree. I believe it's in one of my hauls. And I just kind of fan it through the house, putting out my intention that I want to remove, I personally say banish all negativity, unwanted energies, and entities is what I personally say. So I banish all negativity, unwanted energies, and entities. And I start at the back of the house. I go through every room, working my way forward. I go to the kitchen, because the kitchen would kind of be, the next area to move it towards the front door. And then I, will work my way through the living room and towards the front door, and I will fan it out the front door. A lot of people will open all their windows, open their doors if they can. I personally just basically physically remove it out the door. So that's basically how I do a house cleansing. And that's just for your general negativity. I always add in there the unwanted energies and entities, just because I don't want it floating around my house. So I always try and make sure that nothing's in my home that I don't want it to be there. So that's, your basic house cleansing. If you were to do water, taking your blessed water or your moon water, you'd basically do the same thing, other than you would just, have a little bowl of water and put your hand in it and flick it around like you would the smoke, working from room to room to room. So I have a room cleansing spray coming up whenever I can get it posted. And, so that's kind of herbs and water mixed together, and that I use in between cleansings. So there's so many different ways that you could do cleansings. I'm personally just going to tell you about the ones that I do. I normally don't do water, just simply because it can be damaging to certain furnitures and your carpet and all that, especially if you get too much. And today is a prime example. I walked in here and dumped my entire cup all over the floor. So usually if I can screw it up, I will. So I normally don't do water. I normally just do herbal cleansings or, smoke cleansings. So that's for the house. Now for the items that you're using, this is where my subscriber got confused. She didn't know that she needed to cleanse her items before she used them. And of course that's, completely your own thing. If you don't feel like you need to do that, then don't do it. I just personally, I clean pretty much every item that I use before I do a working with it. So let's say I don't have anything. So before I do candle magic, I'll clean my candles. I'll clean my utensils I'm going to be using. So if I'm going to use my mortar and pestle to grind up herbs, I will clean my mortar and pestle using the sage. I will just smoke cleanse it with, intention, the same intention that I use for everything else, like I just told you before. So I will go over all of my items that I'm going to be using. Now, if you have specific ritual items, you don't have to cleanse them every time. So if you have an athame or a wand, you don't have to clean those every time, because, they're charged with your magical intentions. So you don't have to clean that every time unless you feel like something's attached itself to it. So if you're going and buying something from the store, let's say when I went and bought these little jars. I got these from Dollar Tree last year sometime, and I was going to use that for a specific type of working. I would want to cleanse it before I used it. So I would take my sage and cleanse it in and out. It's full of stuff, so I can't turn it over, but I would turn it over and cleanse it in and out all the way around, stating my intention to remove all of negativity and unwanted energies. And then it would be a completely clean surface for me to be performing my magic with. Now, she had got a little worried because she had done a spell work without cleansing her items. Now, personally, I don't think that your chances of having something that's attached to your spell work from an item that you picked up is, it's rare, but it does happen, so you just want to kind of do that. But I wouldn't freak out if you had did it and forgot to cleanse something. You can always just take that item, your spell work that you've done, and because you don't want to take sage to it, because sage will wipe it of its intention, at least in my opinion. Other people may not see it that way, but in my opinion, if you were to go over a spell work with sage, it would wipe it of all of its intention, because that is what I do when I need to get rid of things that I can't dispose of by burying or taking to wherever it needs to go. If I need to cleanse it and throw it in the garbage, sage is what I use to completely clean it and then am able to dispose of it. So you don't want to use sage if you're going to try and go back to spell work and remove the negativity from it. So you just want to hold it and, you know, say, I banish all negativity from this working, you know, something similar to that. So, where was it going? So that was what she was worried about, is she had did a working and had not cleansed her items beforehand, which is no big deal. It's all in what your intention, okay? So if you intended no negativity to be part of your spell, then, you know, more than likely that's the way it's going to be. So it's all in, you know, the things that you put into it. It's always best to try and remember to clean it, just to be, you know, for sure that there's nothing there, because you can get items that have things attached to them, especially if they're in a very negative environment. You know, and I'm not talking about spirited items. I'm just talking about, you know, items that you have that just have kind of collected all of the negativity from the area it was in. Some stores are like that. You know, especially when there's a lot of traffic that goes through it. So if I was to want to use this for working, knowing that it came from Dollar Tree, and knowing that there's a lot of traffic that goes through there, and the employees are not very happy about working there, and all of this stuff, I would want to make sure that I cleansed it, because I just feel that those things would be attached to this item, even though it's not really an attachment. It would just kind of be clinging to it, you know. I hope that makes sense. So if you have already done a working, just kind of go back and set the intention that you don't want any negativity, or, you know, whatever your intention is attached to this. So I would not sage it. That's just my opinion. Some people may see things differently, but I use sage as a cleansing thing, and I also use it to cleanse away magic from my magical workings for disposal. So just food for thought. And also she was worried about cleansing her house if she had workings going. Now, cleansing your house is perfectly fine if you have workings going. Most of us witches have workings going all the time. So it's very rare that any of us never have something on the go. So you can cleanse your house because you're cleansing the negativity away from your home, not from the working. So it's not directed towards the working that you're doing. It's from your home. So you don't have to worry about cleansing your home or your space or anything like that if you have a working going, because that's perfectly fine. It's a separate thing. You're specifically going to cleanse your home or your space or whatever it is that you're cleaning, whether it be an object or anything. It's not going to affect the working that you're doing, unless you specifically go to that working and say that you want to cleanse it of all of its magic, its magical purposes, you know, and then be able to dispose of it. So I hope that this has helped, and I hope that I haven't confused you even more. And yeah, so as always, if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave me them in the comments. I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. We have been super busy around the house lately. We're refurbishing a boat, and then, you know, of course it's still summer break, so my youngest daughter's out of school, and I've been trying to do a whole lot of stuff out here in the craft room and all of that. So life's really hectic right now, and I'm trying to squeeze videos in when I can and answer any kind, you know, comments and questions when I can too. So like I said, I hope that this was helpful, and I will see you next time. Blessed be.